Yeah, that's for sure. And that, like you're saying, the thing about the bombs is if you get those, you don't have to do that farming for bombs if you're good enough with it. And so some people kind of like seeing those bombs, and other people are terrified of them. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle myself.
I don't necessarily mind it. In a lot of races, it could be, if you're good with them, I think that's the biggest differential. Like, the people who are good at bombs are going to gain the most time over people who are bad at bombs. But people who are good and bad versus, say, with the bow, there's not going to be as big of a time difference. And we are go ahead and off here.
That's right. And in that first chest there, we're just seeing a +5 air capacity upgrade. Not a whole lot of use to us right now. But we had a map check there already from Phoenix Down, and we've got all 3 dungeons are crystals, and notably, Eastern and Hera are the 5-6.
That's really interesting. That might point us towards an early Pyramid Fairy check. And we got the hot stick fire rod from our uncle.
Oh, the fire rod's a really fun one to do, but it's also kind of scary because you only get 8 shots with a full magic bar. And Fouton picking up that bomb early, he's going to be really happy to see that.
Yeah, that means he's not going to waste. Phoenix also going to picking up the bomb. That's great pickups. We're going to see no extra shot from these guys. They're going to use their 1 bomb and call it good. We might see a pretty fast escape time going through here, actually.
I think you might be right about that. So that bomb, we don't have to spend any time farming. We can just zip through, fire rod all these guards, and rescue Zelda and get out.
Yeah, standard time that you're wanting to shoot for an entire escape sequence is right around 6 minutes. And that's kind of the benchmark that you want to go for if you have the sword. Now with the fire rod, which will be able to kill our ball and chain guard much faster, we're probably going to see just under 6 minutes with these guys. They're not going to have to spend any extra time farming with those bomb drops, which is great. We're going to see a really fast start to the scene.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see both of our runners are not wasting any time. They're just zipping right on through here.
I'm not going to lie, this is the first time I've seen the big key sprite in action, and it's a little bit disconcerting.
I agree. I have not seen this sprite before. But to anyone who doesn't know, in Link to Past Randomizer, we have I think it's like 80 different sprites to choose from at this point, maybe more.
Absolutely. While Phoenix Down is using the big key sprite, Fouton is using kind of a popular one, Luigi. The nice thing about Luigi, and I imagine Phoenix Down is doing it for the same reason, you have a really clear shot of the shadow on the sprite location, and that shadow is what a lot of runners use to set up some of these glitches and bomb jumps and things of that nature. So getting a really clear shot of that really helps both of these runners out.
Oh, definitely. And that big key, picking up the big key, is very odd looking.
I mean, whatever works.
That's true. But yeah, like you're saying, the shadow is consistent on most of the sprites, just some of them are blocking it. And it is, when we have so much variety in sprites, it's kind of, that and the sword position are kind of the only 2 consistent ways to determine where you really are between all these different sprites.
Absolutely. So looks like we're getting ready to go up back to the first floor right around 3:45. So we're on pace for our 6-minute escape process right now. Another thing I wanted to point out, and both Fouton and Phoenix Down have taken advantage of this. You'll notice that Fouton has yellow hearts and Phoenix Down has blue hearts. Nakanashi, do you know why that is?
Yeah, it's actually not just a cosmetic thing. To some people it is, but it does help with color blindness. It allows more people, the red hearts kind of disappear for some people, and these alternate colors allow them to more clearly see how much health they actually have.
Absolutely. The developers were approached by some people who had some certain color blindness issues. Originally, one of the first things we did was add those little asterisks next to the green pendant, and then the 5 and 6 crystals when you're doing your map checks. That way you had a little bit better of an idea based on that color blindness. But when we did the hearts, it's been a really popular change. And don't want to get too distracted. There's actually a race going on. We do see the flippers in Escape.
That is true. Flippers are a really nice early pickup, I think, that opens up some more pretty easy overworld checks and also does lock some of our dungeons later on. So that is really nice to see early.
And we did already go ahead and have the map, so every treasure chest from here on out is going to contain something, be it something valuable or junk. That's valuable.
That is definitely valuable.
All right, we got the Power Glove to start off with. So Flippers and Power Glove in the escape sequence were, I mean, that's a pretty respectable escape sequence, all things said.
I would definitely agree. I'm usually happy if I get one additional item aside the weapon out of Escape, but with both of those, you got to be feeling pretty good about this start.
And yeah, Fouton crossing the line right at that 6-minute mark, so very well done. And a cape as well. Uh-oh.
Wow, oh, that cape is a little scary to see this early. I don't want to start thinking it immediately, but cape sometimes points to it being an Agaseed.
Absolutely. Remember, the way to get up to Aghanim is you need to be able to get through that electrified door, and you also have to have at least one sword and a lamp in order to get through. Now, the difference is you normally are supposed to have the Master Sword to break through that thing, but you can get through it with the cape, and the logic absolutely demands that you can sometimes. So, really interesting to see that.
And with that, both of our runners are running up here to do this lumberjack ledge check, which is an item that is unlocked after having cleared Aghanim. So this is probably the better tell if they're going to need to, but it's just a heart container, so.
Well, and, it comes down to two things. If something would have been on the lumberjack ledge that would have been required, you absolutely would have had to do Aghanim, but for an entirely different reason. This may be an Aghanim required seed just based on logic, depending on if they get enough access to be able to do the Dark World normally. So it's kind of half a dozen of one, 6 of another, sort of, so to speak. But the reason why you're going up to Aghanim really does make a difference in terms of your routing.
Oh, absolutely. And there's so many different things to keep in mind for that. And that's just one of them ticked off our list from possible reasons we might need to go to Aga. And Fouton picking up the powder there. Powder is really nice to have kind of in general, just because you can change those anti-fairies you find throughout the entire course of the game into fairies, which can make a dangerous situation into a much more comfortable one.
Absolutely. Ice Palace, Turtle Rock, even through the Ganon's Tower portion, all the anti-fairies that you have available. The powder is just a very, very nice safety item in the later stages of the game, not to mention being a fetch quest in and of itself.
That's right. Once our runners find the hammer, they'll be able to run down and get that magic bat cave, which isn't quite something they can do yet, but we might be looking to see that.
Now, Phoenix ended up picking up another 4 bomb drops, so he's going right to start collecting chests. Fouton is going to make one detour, but then he's going to have to stop and buy bombs to route this Kakariko most efficiently. Phoenix getting a little bit of an advantage just because of the luck of his drops there.
And speaking of that hammer, Phoenix just picked it up there in Blind's basement, so he will be able to zip over and check that magic bat.
That'll be interesting to see if he remembers that he can. I mean, at this point in time, there's not a lot of runners who have that kind of heads-up knowledge. Hey, I can already check this magic bat while I'm here. The hammer and powder are both required to do that, and it's kind of rare to be able to get that both.
That's true. Some of these early additional items you can find in Kakariko, you just don't necessarily, you just expect to pick up on your second trip, not your first. So it can be really easy to just forget about it. Hopefully that doesn't happen to either of our runners.
Oh, silver arrows as well in the well as our first heart container. So when they find the bow, I think they'll be pretty happy. But right now, I don't know if they really want to pick up silvers immediately.
Right, silvers are kind of always a welcome discovery, but right now they don't really do anything for our runners. They're just kind of tucked into our bag of tricks for once we actually find that bow. We're much more interested in finding something that's maybe a little more directly helpful to us at this moment.
I mean, the nice thing about the hammer that we did get earlier is we're just one item away from having Dark World access, and that's our Moon Pearl. We have our lift upgrade and hammer. As soon as we get the Moon Pearl, we'll be able to access things like Hype Cave, the Village of Outcasts, have kind of all sorts of access.
Yeah, absolutely. And with those flippers we picked up already, that's actually going to eliminate, if we pick up that Moon Pearl, that's going to eliminate that other reason we might need to go to Aga completely. We'll be able to get absolutely everywhere with those.
Oh, and Phoenix realizing, he's like, wait. I can go do this.
Looks like Fouton is going to do the same.
Solid heads-up play for both of these runners. I expected no less. I believe both of these runners are 1-0, so they are fighting to remain undefeated in the tournament. And nothing.
Yeah, just $20. All the same, it's more efficient routing to pick this up right now. You don't know when you're going to come back here. If it did happen to be progression, it could be quite a hike to get back. So even with nothing, it's peace of mind. Let's see what we have in the library today. Ooh. It's going to be a sword. Ooh. We'll see if that'll be something we come back for, or if that'll be just left up on the ledge by its lonesome this entire time.
Phoenix taking a dive, making the gamble, and Fouton does not, and sees it's just the bloomerang is noping out of there.
That's right. The bloomerang is not a required item by any means. It can be useful in certain situations, so it's certainly not something some people would turn down. For instance, this is the first thing we have here that will allow us to stun enemies, so we can see what the stun prize is today. And if that's something useful, like bombs, for instance, if we're running low on bombs, that'd be something good to know.
All right, so Fouton is going ahead and doing the South Shore area. Looks like Phoenix Down is going to be following him. No route divergence. I think most of the excitement happens when we get our first route divergence here.
Absolutely. This is just kind of this is pretty much the standard opening you see most runners do, unless something turns up in Kakariko that pulls them other places. There's just a lot of items to pick up between Kakariko and the South Shore area. So it's just a very, very safe, very, very smart early play to do both of these locations back to back like this.
And the dam area had just a soggy single rupee. That is the worst wishing well I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, Fouton going into the mini Moldorm cave here. Gonna use the hammer to take them all out. This can be a little difficult. The hammer's hitbox is very, very strange, especially when hammering up like that. You see, giving him a little bit of difficulty.
Oh, he's switching to bomb strats. I do not blame him at all. Bomb strats can be interesting in and of themselves, but they're a little bit safer than trying to use hammer up that way.
Absolutely. Bomb strats, you can fire upon them from afar instead of having to get up close and personal. And mini Moldorms are pretty erratic creatures. Oh, and there's our Moon Pearl. So we now have Dark World access.
He also picked up our mushroom, so we'll be interested to see when he decides to route in that check at the witch.
Oh, but Moon Pearl was there too.
I'm sorry, what else?
The mirror was there too, the leftmost chest. We picked up a
Huh.
lot in Mini Moldorm Cave.
Well, we've heard it said a few times, Mini Moldorm Cave sometimes feels to be the new hype cave.
It really does in many, many seeds, especially with Hype Cave not living up to its name very much these days. Mini Moldorm Cave does seem to be vying for the title.
All right, interesting slight route divergence here. We see Fouton going and checking a hobo. Meanwhile, Phoenix is going all the way over here to Ice Rod Cave. We'll see what's in the Ice Rod Cave here.
Hobo only gave Fouton a arrow capacity upgrade, but Phoenix now is going to find the red mail, ever so slightly tinting his big key a different, darker color.
So flippers, hammer, mirror, this early at right around 15 minutes. This is, here's the interesting thing about this particular logic. Technically, we can open Swamp Palace and get the first few chests in there. I don't know a single runner who would want to go to Swamp Palace right now, but it's in logic.
You know, I want to go to Swamp Palace so little I didn't even consider that until you said that. But absolutely, the first few chests in Swamp Palace are in logic and could potentially hold progression. That would be very, very interesting seed if that were the case.
Oh, and we see the lamp up on Zora's ledge. So Fouton does not have Zora money right now, but is going to go ahead and collect that lamp, make it a little bit easier to get through these dark rooms.
Absolutely, and there are strats for all of the dark rooms to do without the lamp, but the lamp does just make everything a lot easier. It's very difficult to do them, some of them blind.
The lamp is one of those items that I just love seeing myself because I hate doing dark rooms, so I will go out of my way.
I am right there with you. Picking up that lamp, Futon's going to save and quit out, and we're going to see where is he going to go. Perhaps up Death Mountain, starting at Sanctuary?
Oh, Death Mountain is in full access right now as well. Good eye. The lamp and the power glove gets us up the mountain, and then the mirror and hammer can get us over. So it'd be a solid play right now.
Oh, definitely. There are a lot of items up there on Death Mountain once you have access to the east side of it. And this is our first spot we're seeing this lamp get used. This is one of those dark rooms that I think a lot of runners are fairly comfortable running through. You can see Phoenix actually went and did it without the lamp, as he's now up on Death Mountain himself.
Yeah, that means Phoenix likely did not go back and check, or if he did go up and check Zora, then he knows that at least the lamp is in logic right at the moment. So it's not a sequence break at all. Oh, the bow.
That is something everyone likes to see. These runners might have put off going over to the eastern area, which also has a number of items available right off the bat. But without the bow, you cannot finish it. But picking it up here, that does make eastern full clearable if they want to go over to that area at some point.
More than that, because they have the hammer, the bow, and the lamp. Technically, both Palace of Darkness and Eastern are both full clearable. So at this point in time, the logic really would be doing both of them at the same time and kind of routing them together. Phoenix, though, with that very nice, that's one of the most difficult bomb jumps in the game just because it's extra wide.
It is, yeah. That's the only bomb jump I think that you can do three squares worth, 3 tiles worth of distance on. And it looks like we might be getting a Hera clear, which is also full clearable. We have the hammer to deal damage to Moldorm. We have the fire rod to take care of the torches in the basement if we need to. So we can very easily knock this out. And like we mentioned earlier, this is one of our 5/6 crystals.
When you mention it and you think about everything that we currently have and how both the 5/6 crystals are already in logic, and we really haven't gotten a whole lot right at the moment, it really makes me think that we have something of high value in that pyramid fairy carry.
It really does feel like it with it being available. Well, we can open that up right now if we do the right things. So it does feel like that's very valuable. I wonder if either of these runners are gonna make a dash for that.
Oh no! I just saw something in chat, and I have to go on a little bit of a rant here while Phoenix Down is going up. Will you excuse me for a second?
By all means.
So the question in chat was, who's in the lead? Incoming Vitasia rant. I'm sure everyone who's been around for a while has heard this particular rant. In Randomizer, there is no such thing as a lead until we're in go mode, until we have every item we need to go ahead and beat the game. Because of so many different route divergences and gambles and things like that you can make, lead is really kind of a nebulous term that makes no sense in a randomizer. We're certainly going to say that some people might have an advantage, and Phoenix Down, because he's a little bit ahead in the dungeon and they've both kind of made similar plays, probably has an advantage right now. Lead, though, when you're not talking about an NMG sort of speed run, doesn't really exist until the very end of the game.
There's so many different ways you can progress through a seed, even though there is kind of an intended path through items. There are so many different variations you can go with that. I don't know if you noticed while you were talking about that, we did see the Cane of Samaria picked up in here. Yeah,
that is going to be kind of a significant advantage eventually. Again, not a whole lot is opened up by the Cane of Samaria. And Phoenix, having Trolldorm keep his name intact, gets hit down the center hole, so he's right back down there and neck and neck with Fouton now.
That's right. And Moldorm is one of those very unpredictable bosses. You think you have him figured out, and then all of a sudden just turns right into your face and sends you off the ledge.
And we get hammer strats. I mean, the hammer is really kind of a nice weapon, and if you don't know hammer strats Moldorm, it's definitely good to learn. You get to avoid the whole fast phase in and of itself.
Absolutely. That was one of my personal favorite things about starting to play Randomizer, was that I didn't have to deal with the fast phase Moldorm anymore in several situations. We have a nice sync here as both of our runners get their first crystal at just over 23 minutes.
It's relatively early for a nice crystal, but looks like the last item is actually going to be in the basement here. So we are on our way back in. Both of them have a fire source, so even though Fouton picked up that lamp, I mean, we had the fire rod from the get-go.
That is right. We'll see. Looks like Phoenix Down is going for bombing it and then getting on top, taking the coffee break.
I love these coffee break strats. It's for the lazy and well-intentioned. I love it.
They are. I was rather disappointed to discover myself it is not actually long enough to take a coffee break. I've tried before.
And then you just stand there for like 10 seconds when you come back from the bathroom and go, oh crap, I'm done.
That's right. See, just taking it easy, just taking a little breather here in the basement.
All right, and our final item in this place is just 5 arrows.
Well, you can't win them all. So we do at least have that mirror, so it's nice and easy to get out of there.
And we see both of our runners making our way. I imagine we'll be checking to see what's on the floating island, and then almost immediately also going over doing Spiral Cave, and of course, that's a risk.
Opting to skip taking a look at that island. Now we can't, neither runner can actually get it yet because we don't have the myths to get over into this side of Dark Death Mountain, but it is nice to know what is on that ledge. We'll see if Phoenix Town checks it.
Next slide, please. It does look like Phoenix is actually checking it. Now, whether or not we'll get a peek at it, I don't think so, but... Oh,
now that is a nice find.
Now, if Fouton had sequence broken, and I don't know if Phoenix even checked in the Zora area, having the flute on Death Mountain absolutely means that we should have access to the lamp at some point in time. So it's really, really kind of nice, at least from Phoenix Town's perspective, to find the flute, just because logically, if you didn't know where the lamp was anyway, now you'd know.
Yeah, absolutely. Because those are our only two ways up Death Mountain within the logic, are with the lamp, taking the old man the way Fouton did, or with the flute that we just picked up.
So far, Paradox Cave is just a couple heart pieces. We'll see what the rest of Paradox Cave has for us.
Having a little trouble again with his hammer, taking down the mini Moldorms. Phoenix Down opting to use the bombs on them instead.
Nothing! Absolutely nothing.
That is always disappointing to see in Paradox Cave. Paradox Cave is sometimes a very high value location, and seeing it turn up nothing but hearts and money is a little disappointing to see.
A little disappointing, but we did get the flute. So Phoenix is on his way over to activate that almost immediately. Fouton, I don't know.
I'm thinking Fouton is going to check the island now, realizing it didn't.
Oh, just bombs.
Just bombs.
Actually, I know where Fouton's going, and this is a bold play. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it with what he has right now. He's going to go over here and check Spike Cave while he still can.
Yeah, this could be difficult to make happen. It feels like there's a pretty high probability of a fairy being in one of these bushes, and perhaps he'll try to grab some health here. But getting a map check for us.
Swamp, Mire, and Skull Woods are our pendants. Swamp, the ever-dangerous green pendant.
That's something you both like to see and don't like to see, because it says, hey, maybe I don't need to go to Swamp, but at the same time, it makes Swamp worth 7 items.
Oh, man, I don't know if Fouton's going to make it. This is
very scary. Nope, not going to happen. And he knows and gets out to save some of that magic for himself.
He needed just 1 or 2 more hearts to really make that happen, unfortunately. Oh, and the mushroom turn-in actually gives us our another sword.
Excellent. That is nice to see. And we know now if we don't see a sword anywhere else in the seed, but we do get the boots at some point, we know where to get that master sword that we ultimately need to beat Ganon at the end.
So Fouton is going right to the Dark World. Phoenix unlocked the flute, went over, got his first sword, and is attacking kind of this hype cave area right now. So chat, get your guesses in. Hype cave, is it going to be hype or tripe or love or nothing? What's your guesses?
Personally, I'm holding out for a hype cave, but that Lagmarang doesn't make me feel good about our prospects.
Okay, so hype cave grade pending. We have an incomplete right now for our hype cave.
We did at least get that bottle, which will allow us to talk to the sick kid next time we're in Kakariko.
And I think that's why I'm giving it an incomplete grade at this point in time,
Yeah.
because I don't know right now if it's going to be hype or not. If Sick Kid has something crazy like the Ice Rod or Boots or the Mitts, heaven forbid, then absolutely hype. But we're kind of at an incomplete grade right now.
Yeah, and the Fouton here is taking your advice that you were suggesting earlier and going over to the pod area, and will absolutely be able to. It's got the mirror out already, so probably gonna check Sahasrah's hut on the way, and but then be able to full clear both pod and Eastern.
All right, I take it back. Hype Cave, you got an F. That was a cave full of junk.
And that's why we maybe should start passing around a petition to rename Hype Cave to something a little more accurate for today's world.
You know, we say that, but it is so very, very possible still for Hype Cave to have. There have been 2 races in this tournament so far where Hype Cave has had both the bow, the hammer, and then either the mirror or the cane of Samaria. So Hype Cave isn't completely dead.
That would be an incredibly hype cave. We see Fouton paying off Kiki the monkey to open up pod. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of routing Fouton takes through pod. Pod is a very bizarre dungeon to route just because there's so many options. Oh, but it looks like they're going to hit Eastern first instead.
I actually kind of like this routing a little bit more. He's hoping to find a sword to make getting through Palace of Darkness a little bit easier. You don't necessarily need a weapon to get through Eastern, but pod, you'd like to have something other than the hammer.
Absolutely. We'll see what Eastern has for us. Meanwhile, Phoenix Town has decided to go over into Skull Woods.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a traditional routing sense. If you start over here in Kakariko Village to go into the Village of Outcasts, you start with going north. Skull Woods only really having 2 items. It is a pendant, so as soon as you get the 2 items, you can kind of nope out here and forget this even exists.
And that sounds like a great plan to me. Pendant Skull Woods is never somewhere that feels really good to go, but sometimes we've got the shovel, so Skull Woods is sending us out looking for another item.
Hey Nakanashi, I have a question for you.
I might have an answer for you.
Do you want to do a fetch quest?
I would love to do a fetch quest.
You're like the only person I know that would love to do a fetch quest.
I might have been lying just now.
All right, Fouton also finding the big key, so we'll be able to check this treasure chest here. And I think that's the 3 items. No, it's not the 3 items.
No, not yet, but we're picking up another bottle.
And Phoenix trying to find this last item. It's just not really happening for him in Skull Woods at this point in time. One of the last 2 items might be at the very back, though. It would be horrible if it was on Mothula, of course.
That's right, and I believe Phoenix already checked the chest here, so they are heading to the back now. Meanwhile, Fouton's made the whole loop around and is going to go head into the back to take out the Armos Knights.
Oh, he did end up finding my favorite cane in the world. the Cane of Burna.
I used to always go and get the Cane of Burna when I would play this game vanilla growing up, just because it was such a nice, safe item.
It is an incredibly safe item. It lags the game horribly, but
it sure does.
You know, they have some really interesting things you can do with the Cane of Burna. For example, did you know, and I just had to learn this week, if you have the Cane of Burna and that's your only weapon, you could absolutely be required to do something like Land Molus with the Cane of Burna.
That is news to me. That sounds awful, to be perfectly frank.
It absolutely was. I might be a little salty about my race this week still.
As you can see, Phoenix Down is heading back here to do Mothula, because that is who has the last item, as Fouton finishes up the Armos Knights.
Yes. Bombos, that's a nice pickup, actually, from Lameless. He didn't get what he was looking for in that dungeon, but he'll head over and go ahead and do Pod now. Phoenix, though, he's doing B strats on the mob. Oh, this is amazing.
You gotta love the B strats. Unfortunately, it doesn't stick around long enough to finish off Moth for you, but it does a good job of getting it started for you.
Oh, he's doing Hammer Moth right now and only has 2 hearts left.
This is a little scary.
A little bit, and knowing that this is a pendant, but the last item in Skull Woods is up here. Yeah, this is very difficult. I will give a shout out to Phoenix. He's being very patient here, and that's probably the one thing that is missing the most when you're a speedrunner. Patience is difficult to come by, and a death. Oh
no. Mothula is one of those fights that, even if you're being patient and very safe, can still sneak up on you, because those spikes are very, very erratic and unpredictable at times. Looks like he's going to chance Mothula not having anything worthwhile and get out of Skullwoods.
You know, I think that's a worthwhile check. That's a huge time sink. He has red mail, which is nice. It's still, the difficulty with Mothula, though, is you have to keep up close to him, and if he's moving around a lot, those spikes still do 1 full heart of damage. It doesn't matter what mail you have. So I completely understand Phoenix's decision here to nope out of there until he absolutely has to go back.
Absolutely, yeah. That hammer's, like we were saying earlier, that hammer's hitbox is so small and just weird that it makes a really uncomfortable Moth fight if that's your only good damage source. We are checking the bumper ledge, which we can get. Ooh, and it's the hook shot today. Phoenix just kind of on reflex walking away, it seems, and then realizing, oh, hey, that's actually something I very much want.
It's interesting because a lot of people don't realize that you don't necessarily need the hook shot to get across here. Once you get to the top, you can kind of left over from the side and walk along the wall. This was intended to originally require the hook shot to get across here, but getting it across exactly how Phoenix Down did, that's another way. So hookshot is not required, and the logic absolutely pointing towards that, since you need the hookshot to get up here. Oh my god, it's so good.
This is actually something I was wondering about myself the other day, and just thinking, can you actually have hookshot in there? And this seed has answered my questions for me.
We are very happy to have answered these questions for you. Oh, we have Fouton doing a hammer yump here.
Done very nicely.
Yeah, that's one of those tricks that a lot of runners knew beforehand, but I think a lot of runners, especially in the Key Sanity tournament, learned for that.
Absolutely. It's much more, it's not ever really something that's required to do here in any version of the logic, but it can, wow, and we got the mitts back here. That is huge.
That means that this was absolutely the right play. Phoenix picking up the Ether Medallion, so he's still keeping up. He's doing well.
Absolutely. And I fully suspect that Phoenix is going to be heading over there before too much longer, too.
Man, I realize now that how much money these guys have gotten so far. We're easily in won't need money ever again territory.
That's right. I don't think neither of our runners actually did pay off Zora yet, but that's not even a concern. And getting even more right there.
So Phoenix is mirroring over, not necessarily to do anything with the witch this time, but he is going to pick up another bottle. Always wanted to keep your safeties at least relatively fresh, and since he's already right here in the area, why not?
Absolutely. It takes just a moment, and it could really save you down the line.
Now, unlike Fouton, who did earlier go ahead and check the Zora ledge, Phoenix Town has not yet been up to this area, so he's going to be able to route Catfish in with all of this. Plus, he'll have money for Zora, so he's doing this about as efficiently as you can possibly do it right now.
Absolutely, and that's probably exactly for this moment is why Phoenix did not come up here earlier.
All right, so what do our fishy friends have for us today? More Zora money?
More Zora money. This is definitely a very rich seed so far. There's not any concern for money.
Question in chat, how does Fouton not have a sword yet? Well, we know where two of them are. One of them is on the witch to once you turn in your mushroom. So he just hasn't turned in his mushroom. The other one is on the library ledge. So that's two of our four swords. Half of our sword intake is already gotten. Again, I think the issue is just Fouton hasn't done any of those things yet. And only having Master Sword availability at this point in time, that's pretty common.
Yeah, I believe Fouton hasn't even been back to Kakariko to activate that flute yet.
That's a little bit concerning, all things said.
Well, the good news is it's very obvious when you try to flute that you haven't activated it yet. What was that on Zora? I actually missed it.
Well, judging that chat isn't reacting and going crazy, I'm going to say it was nothing.
That seems like a safe bet, even just in all cases, that Zora is nothing. Seems to be the way of it.
I mean, standard capitalism, so, you know. All right, so Phoenix looks like he's getting ready to start his eastern area, following up. Fouton is on his way. Looks like he's going to try the Hype Cave area right now. It's going to be... Oh, he's already done Hype Cave, hasn't he?
Is he going to... You know, I bet he's going here and is going to loop up around and hit Stumpy and K45 and go up into Village of Outcasts.
Okay, that seems to be... Oh, yeah, he can do Pyramid Fairy. He needs doing Pyramid Fairy.
Completely forgot about that.
It's been a long week, guys. Give us a break. Oh, so, I mean, we were just talking about that, how it feels like Pyramid Fairy could have some significant progression on it. And, I mean, we know this is going to be feels like it's a decent play. The question is, what is left to find? I mean, we know where the hookshot is. Maybe he's looking for boots, looking for ice rod. it would be nice if Fouton could actually get a sword out of this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think boots, ice rod definitely needed. I don't know his boots are going to be needed. Possibly for desert. We haven't been in desert yet.
Yeah, that'd be a good check here to get to pretty soon. We absolutely have the Mire area unlocked, so it would be, and boots.
There they are.
And Sanctuary Heart. Sanctuary Heart, the one heart in the game that triggers your heart refill. All the other full heart containers in this game don't trigger a heart refill. That heart refill, when you normally beat the bosses, is triggered by getting the pendant or the crystal.
That's right. It looks like Fouton now is going to take the trip up here to go do catfish. Probably going to route in that mushroom turn-in on the way, which will finally give him a sword.
I can imagine he'd be pretty happy about this.
I would certainly expect so. And if the play after this is into Village of Outcasts, we'll probably also be picking up that hook shot before too long as well.
Well, he has the boot, so it wouldn't be too difficult to just kind of... Well, no, he could start at Village of Outcasts, but he won't be able to route in from this particular point over to Village of Outcasts, taking that North Graveyard route, in part because you need the hookshot to get across there. Alright, Phoenix is working his way through the Palace of Darkness, and Fouton is about to get disappointed at Catfish as well. Well, not too disappointed. I mean, another 300 rupees.
There is at least something to be said for not having to worry about money at all. Not going to be what he wants to see at all, but at least there will never be any point, probably, where he'll be hurting for money. And not even concerned about it, just gotta get on out. I'm gonna get his Zora check in here. We'll see what that item actually was. Just a piece of heart. It looks like Fouton's going to take out these two quick locations that are right next to each other that the boots just unlocked. King's Tomb, just turning up a heart container. Wow. And Phoenix now looks like also setting up for the Hammer Yump.
You know, I don't know how much time the Hammer Yump saves if it's not Key Sanity. You know you can get all the keys. I don't know if I understand the logic.
I think if you can route it in, if you can get it real quick without too much of a buffer, you can save a little bit of time because you start here, loop around, you can get the stuff in the basement, go through the room with the spikes, come back and forth, and zip right over into Helmasaur. I feel like it possibly saves a few seconds, maybe no more than 10 though.
And there was some question in chat, like, what is the Hammer Yump? Okay, so that bomb jump across the collapsible bridge into the Vanilla Hammer location, at one point was called the Hammer Jump, and then it became the Hammer Yump. Again, memeing is horrible in our community, but sometimes you just have to embrace it. So it's called the Hammer Yump because of that particular jump to the Vanilla Hammer chest. It's a little bit difficult to do because you have to do a lot of menu pausing just to make sure things are lined up just right. And if you miss it once, then you kind of have to reset the entire room and get it set up again. It's one of the most difficult bomb jumps in the entire game. And it can save you some time. I'm looking at chat and they're explaining, being able to loop it all together as opposed to doing some other things. But it's it was much more valuable, we'll say, in the Key Sanity tournament where keys had outsized value.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just not as big of a time save as it was in that format, but still a handy thing to do. And if you are an NMG runner, it's something that is fully expected in that. Well, Fouton is in Skullwoods now as well. I wonder if they will actually go through to try to take down Moth, or if they will also leave Moth behind.
I mean, Fouton's in kind of the same position that Phoenix Town was in. I honestly don't think Fouton will, but I've seen people do stranger things, so.
Getting his shovel. Have we seen that shovel spot yet?
I don't think we have. That could be interesting. I mean, we're so speculative at this point in time about what could and could not be, where our next progression is. But realistically, I mean, we only need... My gosh, we know what the hookshot is. We only need Ice Rod. We haven't even visited Mire or Turtle Rock, so we don't know what medallions are required necessarily for those. But we have 2 medallions right now, Bombos and Ether. It's entirely possible the only thing we need for go mode right now is Ice Rod.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And the tricky thing about Ice Rod is that it can be almost anywhere. There are a very small number of places that Ice Rod cannot be in this seed.
All right, so Phoenix Down going ahead and getting his kill on Helmasaur down. And looks like Fouton is going to take a field trip here.
It sure does. At the very least, going to check that chest you see right inside the back. May or may not go all the way to Moth. We'll see. With the time that Fouton's put on into doing this already, it feels almost like maybe you should just check while you're there. And Phoenix is also opting to loop in Pod and Eastern at the same time, just like Fouton did.
Fouton is making the dive. This is, I mean, it's gutsy. No matter what you think about it, it is gutsy. Now the difference is he is using silvers instead of his fire rod in order to try to conserve as much magic as possible to be as effective against Mothula as you can with those fire rod shots.
That's right. With the weapons at Fouton's disposal right now, the fire rod is definitely the most attractive thing to use against Mothula. Heading in with only 3.5 hearts, but does have a blue potion in reserve, I believe.
He does. This
and
is
green as well, I think.
Yeah, this is gutsy either way. Again, we're seeing a lot of patience from Fouton. That's the key in this fight. Moving around. I love his movement. He's at half a heart, but he gets the kill.
Oh, very
With
nice.
only half a heart. Clutch from Fouton.
He is rewarded with a 5 arrow capacity upgrade.
That's trash. I'm sure he's disappointed. All right, so Fouton is now backtracking through this dungeon. I imagine he'll be heading down to Village of Outcasts at this point in time. He'll have all of Village of Outcasts and Thieves Town. He'll be able to do Jeremiah and the whole South Pass area. The trick is, we know where the hookshot is. It's going to be on the Bumper Cave. We are really looking for Fouton to be able to go there to at least be at an item draw with Phoenix Down. He has 3 crystals and 1 pendant. Pendants, unless something's on the pedestal. Man, an ice rod on the pedestal would be horrible, but it's possible. And Fouton finding that hook shot. That's going to be a nice play there for him. Chat pointing out right now that Master Sword is on the library ledge. Fouton has the boots. He checked it. He could absolutely, positively, totally get the Master Sword right now if he wanted to. And honestly, if I were him, I would probably do that before heading into another dungeon at this point in time. Simply because of the reach that it offers, the extra damage that it does. And if you find another sword along the way, that makes it tempered, which makes it super awesome. Meanwhile, Phoenix Down is working his way here through Eastern Palace. He's getting ready for his, what I will call the easiest boss in the game, Silver Arrow Armos Knights.
Yeah, Armos Knights taking 3 shots each with the regular arrows, but with the silvers, it's just a single one.
It's one of those get out of my way sorts of bosses. Blink and you miss it.
Absolutely, and Fouton just picked up his Ether Medallion, so I'm starting to wonder when we got medallions on both sides there.
Yep, they both picked up each other's medallions as soon as they could. So here we go. They're pretty well tied up right now in terms of crystal count, in terms of item count. It's just a matter of Fouton also going in and killing wonderful Mothula. Phoenix Down went for the kill, but did not quite get there. Either way, it's time kind of spent for both of them.
That's right. Now we're finally getting our first real look here at Village of Outcasts from Fouton. And you gotta kind of think there's something in here.
I sure hope so, yeah.
There's still lots of places we can go as far as our dungeons that aren't here. Desert Palace should be wide open, I believe. Ice Palace is also wide open, and obviously Thieves Town that we're jumping into right now.
Yeah, this is going to be the portion of the program where I really think Fouton and Phoenix Down are going to get down to business and just focus on some crystal dungeons right now. They only have Ice Rod to go, pending whatever is available on Turtle Rock. However, if Ice Rod is on the dark side of Turtle Rock, you might as well route that in when you go up there. So they're going to try to get all these dungeons down, and if they're still looking for Ice Rod, they'll clear out Dark Death Mountain. I can see them going right into Turtle Rock almost immediately as well.
Absolutely. There are a lot of runners who kind of believe in the path of, if you haven't gotten Ice Rod by the time you're going into Turtle Rock, just go anyway, because it's probably in there.
And that's really held true throughout this seed. We've seen Ice Rod, Turtle Rock multiple times.
Absolutely, and anyone who's run, I think, more than just a handful of seeds has probably seen it more than once as well, because it does feel like it's a very common occurrence.
Fouton trying to do this Hellway. Not quite getting the perfect pixel there, but still getting through relatively unscathed.
That's right. I guess I've never been able to execute that myself, but I guess because of the way that the dashes work, if you dash right out of the door and stop yourself right there, since dashing moves you, I think it's multiples of 4 pixels at a time, you can stop cleanly right there in the middle if you have the timing down, which is easier said than done.
Yeah, pixel. Whenever we start talking about pixel precision, that's just not something I would be accustomed to. Oh, that sprite is amazing.
That's fantastic. I've been wondering, chat was wondering earlier, what does the big key turn into? And questions have been answered.
It was worth the wait, too. All right, so both of these runners are actually in Thieves Town at about the same time. Fouton is about a half dungeon ahead right now, and I really think that can be attributed to him getting the boots that much earlier. So otherwise, these runners are really just kind of neck and neck in their progression.
Absolutely. You see Fouton opting not to check that chest on the side there. I didn't follow the items super closely, but probably knowing that that has to be one of the dungeon items. Or rather, not knowing that doesn't even have the key. I'm just making things up now.
Fouton looks like he knows the scripted fight right now for blind. He's doing it pretty well.
That's right. And blind is one of those very interesting fights that it's the same every single time if you do the same thing. And it doesn't matter what sword you have, it takes 3 hits per phase of that fight to advance blind to the next part of the fight. So it's very, as long as you have a sword, at least, it's pretty much the same fight every time.
I think that's actually what makes it one of the more attractive early dungeons. Not only does it require relatively little in terms of unlocking it, only Dark World access, but it also is relatively easy to do even when you just have fighter swords. So it makes it very popular to do early. I'm actually a little bit surprised. This is our first dip over into Village of Outcasts, just a little bit, around an hour. We've had Dark World access since around minute 20.
Yeah, that's right. And because you do just kind of think it's one of those early, easy to get to Dark World locations. You just kind of think that it's going to happen early, and it wasn't the case here for these ones. It's like Fouton is going to dip in and get the library item.
Yeah, this was his second sword, so he's going to have Master Sword.
And that's very nice to have. The fighter's sword just really kind of feels like a toy compared to the Master Sword.
And we have our digging game. Did Phoenix check digging game earlier?
I do not believe so. Only 4 digs.
4 digs, that's nice. And now Fouton's going to go over here, pick up Jeremiah again, likely turn him in before grabbing the purple chest.
That's right. This is kind of a standard sort of thing to do right here. You can route in a number of different items by doing this. And not going to do the...
Oh, he hasn't turned in Sick Kid yet.
He will be a little disappointed to get these bombs.
All right, so what will Jeremiah have for us today? We will see. almost vanilla half magic.
Close enough. That's always a nice comfort thing to pick up. Not what we're looking for that ice rod, but it really kind of makes us not have to worry about magic very much for the rest of the run.
Absolutely. Then we're going to get a chance to check hammer pegs here. Another bottle. I mean, sure, why not?
Sure, you can never have too many bottles, right?
I think at this point he'd rather have a sword.
Yeah, I do think you're right on that. Now we're Phoenix doing the exact same thing that Fouton's doing here. Having already picked up that sick kid, not gonna make the trip in to do that.
So Nakanashi, I have another question for you.
I'm ready.
Do you know why they call the frog Jeremiah?
I do. Well, unless it's a different reason than the song.
It's the song. Yeah.
Okay. Were you trying to get me to sing there?
Well, if you weren't, I was going to. But
Fouton dragging his chest all around everywhere and going to take the moment to finally check this dig spot.
I'm curious, did we ever see Fouton activate his flute? I don't recall.
I didn't see it, but he certainly just did because he just used it.
Oh, okay, right.
Taking a moment to consider where to go there, it looked like. And we are going to go check this Mire area.
I think it's worth a check. You'll want to see if you happen to have the medallion to dip in here. If not, I think you're thankful.
All right, we can get these two items here in the Mire shed, grab Checkerboard Cave, and then go knock out Desert all in one quick swoop. Ooh, and we got Tempered here. That's a nice thing to see.
Yep, we are now set as far as swords are concerned. 4 crystals done, and the rest of them can be done very easily with Tempered Sword. Fouton's also going to go ahead and check and do Desert while he's here, because he can go ahead and full clear Desert now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really like routing these two things together. And when you have that mirror early, there's a lot of spots like this. You can, like that Pod Eastern we saw routed together, the Mire area Desert routed together. Just really the mirror facilitates some really nice routing decisions like this.
And it might look like we will see if the big key is in this location. If not, this is entirely possible. Fouton, what's here? Yes, compass. So the big key is going to be in one of these treasure chests over here on the side, which means Desert is boot locked. Until Phoenix Town goes and does the Pyramid Fairy, he will not be able to access Desert Palace's final boss. And it's a crystal, it's required.
Oh, you are right. Phoenix is kind of in the right area right now to maybe be thinking about it, but no, Phoenix is saying it's Swamp Palace time.
I mean, given what he has, I think he might be hoping to find boots eventually and avoiding going to Desert because it is such a high probability relative. Fouton, I think, is making the better routing decision right now at that point. So, I mean, we'll see if Ice Rod is here. And if so, he's going to treat everything as though it's go mode, but it's not quite.
That's right. And this is, I mean, this Swamp Palace play is potentially 7 items if you get everything plus the pendant turn in. That is a lot of places that could be Ice Rod. So we see Fouton coming up here on the Land Mollis fight with both the Fire Rod and the Silver Arrows, which probably one of those two weapons is going to be his weapon of choice for this fight. Which do you think he's going to use?
Generally, I think people who have silvers use silvers, although Fire Rod isn't a bad choice at all either.
Yeah, I think so too. Fire Rod takes 2 shots to each one. Silvers is just a single one, making the fight incredibly easy. And we're just going to use just use swordsmiths with Fire Rod. Okay. Perhaps trying to save the menu from having the Fire Rod out already.
I mean, that's a reasonable option at that point in time.
Definitely.
And the bow can be a little bit tricky for the timing because you have to draw the bow and pull it and then it goes. So I don't blame him for doing that. It's really pretty close in terms of timing.
Yeah, I think that's one of those. It really does come down to kind of a preference thing because, like you say, the bow does have that little kind of draw moment, whereas the Fire Rod feels pretty instantaneous.
Our first shield. We've not gotten a single shield this entire run. The first shield that we even looked at was in Checkerboard Cave.
It's our first shield, and we're gonna just leave it behind.
This is really unfortunate for Phoenix not going in and realizing that he has both the 5/6 crystal, and that's what locks the boots at this point in time. It's really putting him in a bad spot.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully after, maybe he's thinking about routing that in after doing Swamp here.
Oh, this is interesting at this point in time. Fouton's actually going up to do Dark Death Mountain now, as opposed to doing Ice Palace first and then trying to route all that together. He's had some really, really solid routing at this point in time. This is... I question it, but it could pay off. We'll see.
Oh, he's looking like he's gonna get his revenge on Spike Cave first.
Okay. Maybe he just instinctively knows? I don't know. He is in a much better position for Spike Cave. Doesn't even have to use a single thing of magic.
Absolutely.
And it's just a full container.
Perhaps just wanting to get that location out of the way that didn't get taken care of earlier before going on to the Ice Palace play.
Phoenix not really finding anything of value here in Swamp Palace. Fouton going over to Ice Palace. I don't recall. Oh, this was Red Mail. He still hasn't got the Red Mail over here.
Oh yeah, this is one of those locations. It's just really easy to leave behind for a while. That'll be a nice pickup. Make Fouton feel even safer. 15 hearts and Red Mail. Oh, Phoenix Down is going to get to check out the backside of Swamp now, and perhaps we will see something back here.
Alright, in the meantime, Fouton does look like he's going over here to Ice Palace. It's going to be his 6th out of 7 crystals.
That's right, and perhaps Fouton was doing some other things before hitting Ice Palace, because if you have everything you need already, go moding Ice Palace takes much less time than doing a full clear of Ice Palace.
It's true. I'm sure he's hoping he's going to find Ice Rod at some point in time. I mean, he's in very good position right now. He's very well equipped. Still going to have to full clear until he finds that Ice Rod. If it's not here, the question for you then, Fouton, do you gamble Turtle Rock and go up to, or do you think it's somewhere else?
That is a good question. I think most people would probably gamble that Turtle Rock. There's more items and it's right where you want to be rather than trying to hit like Swamp Palace, which Fouton doesn't know is looking like a bust, but might be an attractive prospect. But I could see them heading straight up to Turtle Rock, even if Ice Rod isn't in here.
So Fouton, or Phoenix Town, is now doing his Argus fight. Menu boss strats. He's switching from the hook shot to the hammer back and forth. It is the quickest way to kill it, Argus, when you have just fighter sword. And it's really unfortunate because he could have at least Master Sword. He could have Tempered right there along with Fouton if he would just check the Pyramid Fairy.
That's right, but doing a really good job at wasting no time with as soon as that hammer goes down, switching back to pull the hook shot back out. And very, very clean menu strat.
Chad is asking, where did Fouton get his second and third swords? His second sword is on the library ledge, so it does require the mirror. The third sword would be located in the Mire shed. Both locations open to Phoenix Town, of course.
That's right. Well, Phoenix does still have to pick up those boots, but could go get the Mire shed.
Phoenix trying to use silvers on Argus. He is not cooperating.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I was saying with that Landmola's fight, is the silver arrows just are tough to get a shot off sometimes. They travel kind of slowly, and just there's that delay before they come out. So,
and the worst part of it is the big key was on Argus, so he's going to be dipping back down unless he kept track of items. I don't know if he did or not.
I was not tracking it. Looks like he's confidently going to say either I got everything or I'm not going to go back for that one item.
I think that's a fair degree of confidence. Phoenix is going to go ahead and do... Looks like he's heading over to Ice Palace with Fighter Sword. Oh man, this is going to be interesting. The difference between Fighter Sword and Tempered Sword in a place like Ice Palace is just night and day. Plus you have Fouton having the boots, which when you're dashing on ice just kind of allow you to stick and stop in place, which is incredibly handy. Advantage Fouton at this point in time going through here.
Absolutely. The silver lining, at least for coming in here for Phoenix, is that the hookshot does deal with almost all of the enemies in here in a single shot. So even though only has Fighter's Sword compared to Fouton's Tempered, still not going to have too much trouble with these enemies, or for example using bombos here to take out this room instead of messing around with the sword.
I mean, it's probably the fastest way to do it, honestly.
Absolutely, I would tend to agree. Ice isn't really showing us much yet.
It's really not.
I think that was the third item.
Yeah, Ice Palace has kind of a plethora of keys working with it. So Fouton on his way to Cold Stare now.
That's right. I'm gonna be feeling pretty good about that cold stare fight, I think, with everything he's got here.
Meanwhile, Phoenix is trying to line up this bomb jump. Here, the difficult thing about this bomb jump, depending on the strategy that you use to line up the bomb jump, some people use the shadow, other people use the sword. When you have fighter sword, though, it's slimmer pixels, so it changes the lineup. It can be a little bit difficult if that's how you have lined everything up.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be it's a kind of tricky one to do because you have to drop the bomb and then move, and so you don't have a whole lot of time. And if you're more comfortable seeing it with the Master Sword, then it can be a little scary. But Fouton cleaning up Cold Stare, no problem. Rewarded with his 6th crystal.
Six out of seven. We'll see. I mean, Swamp Palace had nothing for us. So the Ice Rod at this point could be on Misery Mire. Unlikely. It could also be in Dark Death Mountain, which we haven't checked either. I imagine Fouton's going to be doing that Dark Death Mountain check over into Turtle Rock, just because that's the most logical play at this point.
Absolutely, it's a I think most runners would make this play. It's a smart play because this is where you want to go. There's a lot of items up here. If the Ice Rod is here, it's perfect. And no one really wants to go into a pendant dungeon, so I like this call.
I like it too. Chat's also asking for the trolliest option that is available, and it's absolutely available. The pedestal. Pedestal has not been checked. We don't have the book to check it, so that's still a possibility. Ice Rod is one of those things that, unless Turtle Rock is a pendant, is absolutely possible to be on there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see both runners have cleared one of the pendant dungeons. So if that does become a possibility, at least they're already partway there. Oh, and noticing that Turtle Rock is actually Quake, the one medallion we do not have yet.
Oh my, that's interesting. So we're 2 items from go mode now.
We are. Well, we do have these 4 items here.
Oh no, in the book.
Oh no.
Oh, there's the Ice Rod!
Oh, no.
You tease!
What a seed. Just when we thought we were gonna be ready to go,
oh,
we find out we need another item.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is amazing. And there's the second shield. We know where the third shield is. Yeah, at this point, I think Fouton makes a beeline for pedestal.
I think it looks like maybe it's going to be the Bombos tablet check. Or just gutting for swamp.
I mean, I can absolutely see the Bombos tablet check. If I'm Fouton right now, I want to know if it's on that ped. Quake on ped means you go mode swamp, you go mode misery mire, you just get through it. Although Fouton did go and check, I didn't see what was Misery Mire's requirement either. If Quake happened to be Misery Mire's requirement, it can't be on there. But
That's right. If Quake was Misery Mire's requirement, I didn't see it either. It was a really quick check. But let's see what Bombo's tablet has in store for us.
wow,
That's not what they wanted to see.
All right, so Fouton going over here. Oh no,
This does look like the Swamp Palace play.
So at this point, our options for Quake, based on what we know, Misery Mire we have not touched yet. So Misery Mire is still an option. The other option, only other option, really is the pedestal.
That's right, because I believe we've gotten all the overworld locations out of the way by now. So Fouton is unfortunately probably going to be doing a full clear of this, looking for that Quake, and will unfortunately be disappointed with every chest he opens.
I mean, you say unfortunately. I think chat's kind of hyped because the Ped Dream is alive, and if you think about this, Misery Mire only has what, 2 items that are located in it. 2. The pedestal is the third. We're at a 33% chance for the pedestal dream.
I do like it. I do like it.
Although chat pointing out, I don't think we've checked Green Pendant yet. Like, we have not turned it into Sahasrara, so we don't know what that. So 25% chance.
Well, I still like those odds for pedestal at this point.
I mean, compared, like, a usual pedestal required seed is something like 2% or so. So and to explain to chat, because I did see the question, I continually forget that we have some folks that are new to Randomizer, so we need to explain these sorts of things. So in the vanilla game, you get the 3 pendants, you pull the Master Sword, and that allows you to go defeat Ganon and cut through and everything. So in Randomizer, that Master Sword pull from the pedestal is still an item location. So it is entirely possible, for the way the logic works in the seed, in order for you to beat Ganon, you still have to defeat the 3 pendant dungeons, get the 3 pendants, and bring it to that Master Sword pedestal, thus called the pedestal, to pull the item. And it's a cutscene, and there's epic music, and lights, and flashes, and angels sing from on high. Sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes it's like, usually, in fact, it's like 20 rupees. That's it.
That's right. Pulling the pedestal is an event. Everyone likes seeing a pedestal pull, even if it turns out to only be 20 rupees.
All right, so here comes Fouton on his way. He's going to have a much easier Argus fight. And before he checks, I think he paused his menu to check to see if he had all the items in here. If there's a compass or a map that he still needs, then he'll not have to go back and get this big treasure chest.
Yeah, that's right. And that might be why we saw, would be why we didn't see Phoenix come back in, because they say we do have both of those map and compass already, so it means we do still have an item in that chest.
Absolutely. So Phoenix is still working his way through here. It looks like he's had kind of a rough time getting through Ice Palace, but with Fighter Sword, it's absolutely a rough time. And Fouton dips back in. All right, so this is a bit of a moment of truth here in this location. We have not checked it, so okay, we're at 20% right now.
And will this be it?
No!
Not at all. We're back up to 25%.
Fouton it does look like he completely skipped left side, so he's going to go ahead and do the left side at this point in time.
That's right. These two more chests on the left side, unfortunately, do feel kind of out of the way, which is absolutely why Fouton wanted to skip them the first time around, I suspect. But having not found that Quake Medallion yet, as long as we're here now, it's going to take a lot more time to reopen Swamp later, if they are over here.
Okay, so here's the question that I have for you, Nakanashi, and a question for chat. Right now, you know, we have 4 locations that we've identified that could possibly have the Quake Medallion, which is required to unlock Turtle Rock. We have 2 in Misery Mire proper. We have 1 in Sahasrara to check the green pendant turn in, and 1 for the famed pedestal. What do you check first? Like, what is your routing option at this point in time? What do you do?
Personally, I think, like you were saying before Fouton went into Swamp Palace here, you gotta know if that pedestal is what it is or not. I would be really tempted as soon as getting out of here, Mire, flew into Kakariko, and check that pedestal.
You know, I think the Sahasrara check is relatively quick, because you can flute over, dash in, turn them in. If it's there, great, you're done. And I think Fouton's heading there. After that, you absolutely do have to check that pedestal. Just check it, because if it is, you go mode Misery Mire and you just make it your. I'm not going to say the word because I really want to say it, but go as fast as you can.
That's right. I'm gonna see here, and just $50.
So Fouton is fluting away, and he's going right to Mire.
That's true. You know, the time that would be saved by go moding Mire versus going up to check the pedestal, it probably comes out to be a little bit of a wash, depending on where the items actually are in Mire. For sure, it'd be a quicker run through Mire to check pedestal and find out that pedestal is Quake Medallion, if that's the case. But I don't know, I think this is good. And then, because if Fouton does this, doesn't find Quake, knows that at that point that pedestal has got to be the medallion that he's looking for.
This is a situation where you're going to be opening every treasure chest that you possibly can as you're going through here. As soon as you find Quake, if you do find Quake, you dip out. If you don't find Quake, then you already happen to have the big key. You go mode it, and don't bother picking up the rest of the 9,000 keys that are in Misery Mire.
There are a lot of keys in Misery Mire, and with the kind of stuff that we have most of the time, it just don't need them at all.
Oh no, that's our first item.
Oh, there's 50% chance now.
Coin flip. This is a dream. Those of you guys who remember way back when I first started commentating, there for the longest time, it almost became a joke unto itself. I had been cursed to never be part of a pedestal seed. Ever. One finally happened in Keysanity where it was a pedestal required seed, but of the several hundred or whatever seeds I've lost track at this point in time. My career's long. I've still only commentated one pedestal required seed. So if this is a pedestal seed, I'm going to be a little bit giddy here.
And hopefully we're going to find out very soon. But Fouton is going to check every single chest, including this one that people like to avoid if possible.
I mean, I can understand the avoiding it. It's anything that adds a 20-second cutscene to anything you're doing. You just try to avoid if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Just sitting here waiting for this to go while you're sitting thinking, is this chest up here going to have been worth this time? Just not something you really want to do here in the middle. You just want to keep going. I'm still not finding that item.
Let's see, here we go. We have this one and then two more treasure chests plus the location. There it is! Oh man! The dream is dead!
It was so close. So close, too. I'm sorry, Vitasia. It's gonna just have to be another day when you're part of another pet seed. I'm sorry it couldn't be today.
It's alright. At least runners aren't explicitly requesting me to comment their seeds, knowing that I will disallow somehow a pedestal seed anymore. So, man, that was intense. I mean, we were talking Go mode at 40 minutes? An hour ago we were talking Go mode. And to have Quake be our Go mode item is just crazy.
I know, and we didn't even know it was going to be our Go mode item until just, 15 minutes ago. We were all just ready for that ice rod check. As soon as that showed up, thought we were good, but no.
All right, so Fouton is getting ready to enter Turtle Rock. The nice thing is he'll be able to Go mode Turtle Rock, grab a couple keys, get the big key, call it good.
That's right. And Turtle Rock is a kind of weird dungeon to Go mode because you still have to end up picking up a lot of things. Because that big key is required. A lot of key, you do need to pick up several of the keys. So Go mode Turtle Rock is quicker, but a lot of times we still end up going everywhere.
Oh, and thank you, chat, for pointing it out to me. Go mode. So another term that we've developed here in the randomizer community that does need to be explained. So in order to defeat Ganon, it requires an absolute certain number of things. One, you have to have all 7 crystals in order to enter Ganon's tower. 2, it does require you to go ahead and complete Ganon's tower, which requires at least the bow and the hookshot. So even if those 2 particular items are not required, for whatever dungeons you have to do, those 2 items are just added to the 100% required list. So the idea is that once you have every single item that you need to not only get all of your crystals, but also defeat Ganon's tower, and then at least Master Sword, because Master Sword is required to do minimum damage to Ganon, you are considered in go mode. That means you can just flip a switch. No more treasure chests, no more checking everything else. You don't need to hunt around for anything else. It's point A to point B as fast as you can. This is when the seed becomes linear. Get it done as fast as you can. And you will see a lot of runners change their behavior and how certain they are in some things based on when they hit go mode.
That's right. Go mode is a really nice place to be because you don't have to worry about all that stuff anymore. It's just get to the end and get the game done.
I mean, yeah, that's the easy version. I need to make it sound a little bit epic. Come on.
I mean, it's a very epic feeling to be in go mode, without a doubt.
It is. And, it's interesting because we have a lot of runners who have kind of come to the randomizer community from the normal, what we call no major glitch community, the community that just kind of does muscle memory to get through the game as quickly as you can. So you can see them being a little bit confused and maybe having to do some things in randomizer that they're not accustomed to having to do normally. But as soon as they hit that go mode, it's like a night and day difference in terms of their execution, in terms of how quickly they're getting through everything. So it's really a fun thing to see go mode for a lot of these runners.
Yeah, definitely. And Fouton there, since they got the big key already, skipping that chest there in the middle can't be anything helpful.
I'm a little bit curious where Phoenix is at this point in time. He's having some stream issues, and we'll blame it on. Let's see, what can we blame streams on? I'm going to go with chemical attacks in Syria. That's right. Phoenix Town's internet is messed up because of chemical attacks in Syria, and we're going to keep it that way.
All right. Yeah, it is kind of interesting to think, because we don't know where Phoenix is, and hopefully doing well. And oh no, Fouton had a little bit of an oops there, going up instead of down out of that ledge.
All right, so Fouton is going to have to find one more key. It's going to be on this laser bridge somewhere. This feels like a little bit of a, if you watch Mario Maker streams at all, like a pick-a-pipe. Just, let's see where the key is.
Now, I will note that Fouton did leave the big chest. But it doesn't matter. That is something kind of a small gamble, saying, well, I don't think it's going to be in that big chest. And sure enough, it was here on his bridge.
All right, so Fouton is getting ready to enter the wonderful, Trinex at this point in time, Tempered Sword, half magic is going to be a relatively nice fight at this point in time.
Oh yeah, this feels like a pretty easy fight when you have tempered and half magic. You don't have to worry that much about the shots. You're not going for getting clipped there in the end. Don't get the quick kill. Forgetting to switch over to Fire Rod. Looks a little frustrated about that.
I think that's an understandable frustration there too.
Absolutely. Got maybe a little thrown off by missing that quick kill and just forgot to menu or lost track of hits.
All right, and Fouton is cleaning up, and Trinex is down. Very nice Trinex kill here by Fouton. All right, so chat does appear to know what's up already. Ladies and gentlemen, in the randomizer community, I am pleased to point to you the start of everyone's favorite game in the randomizer community. There are 22 treasure chests in Ganon's Tower that can possibly contain the big key. We are going to allow anyone who has subscribed to any of the Speed Gaming Network channels, or if you have donated at least 250 bits, go ahead and get your guesses in 1 through 22 in chat. Where is the big key going to be located? We're going to go based on when Fouton goes. We're going to end it as soon as he enters. 1 through 22. Nakanashi, what's your guess?
Oh, I'm gonna go with 22, the tile room.
It's not a bad guess. I mean, it could be anywhere at this point in time. So we are on our way. You know, I generally tend to see. I like seeing 8 firebar room. That's kind of my traditional guess. The game is not necessarily subs only. It is sub, or if you have donated 250 bits to any of the Speed Gaming Network channels. If you win, you're on our leaderboard. We're kind of keeping track throughout the entire tournament. And at the end of the leaderboard, you know, you get a shiny crown. I don't really know what the reward is. It's just internet points.
You get to feel good. We're up to 3 already.
Yeah, up to 3, kind of using traditional routing at this point in time. All right, there's 7. Firebar room's coming up. Nope, big 20. Dang.
Sorry.
All right, so here Fouton goes. He's going through, just trying to find this key. Phoenix, we wish Phoenix the best. He's this PowerPoint presentation is a little bit painful, but we hope he's doing well. We hope he's at least in Turtle Rock by this point.
Yeah, Phoenix was doing very well, so even though we're not sure where he is, I trust that he's not too far off from what we're seeing on Fouton right now.
Yep. Fouton approaching what we call the randomizer room, so called because nothing in this room is of any value to you at this point in the game. In the normal game, only in randomizer. So some people don't even know this exists. So chest 10, 11, 12, and 13.
And we're still going. I don't actually even know what is in that room in the vanilla game.
I think it's literally just like bombs and rupees and arrows. Like it is literally worthless if you're in the vanilla game.
All right, yeah, I literally did not know that room existed until I started playing Randomizer. So absolutely, it's kind of a uniquely randomizer location. Sometimes is very valuable. And picking up the butter sword on the way.
I mean, that's nice. So that's 13. We're getting ready to have 14, 15, and 16 here.
Very nice. Will we have the vanilla big key?
16.
There it is.
Dr. Bob, what's this? Okay, 17. Okay. I guess I miscounted. 17. So 17, the first subscriber or donator, Don Pyrie, GG. You have our love and affection right now for winning that. Yeah,
Yes.
guys, I can't count. You know, it's all right. I just can't count sometimes.
No, counting's very difficult, really. 17 is a big number.
You know what? It really is. I ran out of fingers and I couldn't pull my socks off in time to use my toes. So
It's very understandable.
all right, so Fouton begins his ascent up Ganon's tower. And chat pointing out the big issue right now for Phoenix is that when his stream started acting up, he didn't have the boots. And boots, we found out, are absolutely required to get past desert. So he was really kind of behind the 8 ball, for lack of a better term, in his routing and his decisions.
Yeah, that's true. And maybe Phoenix went and grabbed those boots shortly after and didn't get behind. But for all we know, there could have been a little hunt for boots there that we missed.
And that's okay, because, you know, one thing you learn about Randomizer after you watch enough of it is that even the best runners there's a term we use called tilted. It's where you've forgotten something and you have no idea where to go. It happens to the very, very best of us, or the not so very best of us if you're like me and not very good. But, you know, being in Phoenix's situation where you forgot that you can do that pyramid very so early, and it did end up having progression as we were predicting, you know, from the almost very beginning of the race. I mean, we kind of called it, but we know that's going to be significant, and I don't necessarily blame Phoenix. Sometimes the more precision-based runner, the technical execution does not win. Sometimes it's just about good routing and good gambles.
That's right. Yeah, you can make all of the safest, best calls by the numbers too, and sometimes that's still not going to work out for you. It's a combination of that skill, reading the seed, and also making the right gambles. So a bad luck run for finding an item can happen to anybody.
And hey, we got another slide. Looks like he's through. He's through Ice Palace. We'll see.
It's completed.
Yes. Oh, and Trolldorm earning his name. Remember that enemy's real name is Moldorm. We call him Trolldorm because he trolls us and knocks us down and laughs about it. Little known fact, that that you hear every time he's running around, that's actually his laugh.
This doesn't surprise me at all, actually. I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised because he seems like a really cheery, kind of devious fellow laughing at us like that.
He really is. I mean, it's just what he is. And Fouton, oh my gosh, he's doing swagnet strats.
Oh,
he's
this is
not. He's not.
Oh. Yeah,
Ooh.
fake out on the swagnet. Maybe he'll
You
finish.
tease, Fouton. You tease. Oh, and the Ganon clones are a little bit desynced right now. Nice triple.
Yes.
And you only need one now. Come on, swag it. He swagged it. Okay,
Very
he got one.
nice.
All right, so Fouton. Let me just recap. Fouton has Butter Sword, Red Mail, Silvers, 18 hearts. You think he's equipped enough for this Ganon fight?
I don't know, it sounds like a difficult fight. Yeah, I think he's going to be making very short work of this Ganon fight.
Absolutely. I mean, this is going to be just an amazing fight here. He's even using dash strats for Ganon, which is just amazing.
Oh, dash strats always look so cool. I have no idea how to make them work, and it's just so impressive to see that. Just bouncing in there within the ring and under the trident just looks awesome.
You know, you can always tell someone who's had a lot of practice at Ganon when they can nail the dash strats perfectly well.
Absolutely. And Ganon being pretty kind here, not teleporting around too much, letting us get into the final phase nice and quick.
Absolutely. And here comes Fire Rod strat, so if you can hit it, yeah, he got the torch glitch with the Fire Rod. That's actually really impressive.
That was very nicely done. That was a very slim window. If it'd been just a little bit later, would have had to light that other one. He gets a double to finish it off.
GG Fouton, that was incredibly well done. All right, and all your base are belong to us. GG Fouton. Looks like he had a time of 156.31, given how much of this game he had to clear. I'm sure his clear rate was somewhere in the 180s.
Yeah, I would not be surprised by that. He cleared out a lot of this game, and still coming in at under 2 hours for clearing out, going into nearly, well, every single dungeon, is really fantastic.
Absolutely. And here we have Fouton joining us. GG, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nicely run.
So I got to ask you, one, okay, so you're going up Turtle Rock, you check, you realize it's Quake. How much salt did it rub in the wound that Ice Rod was actually just right there in Hookshot Cave?
I don't know how upset I was. I was actually kind of glad I saw the Ice Rod, because if I got the Quake first, I might have gone in and wasted a lot of time. So I saw the Ice Rod, and I was just like, okay, of course it's going to be Quake. It was a little bit like, okay, you had to be that medallion, even though the Ice Rod is here. But at the same time, I was like, okay, good. I found the Ice Rod. The search is over. Everything's going to be okay. Or so I thought.
Yeah, the seed kind of had some interesting things going for it for a while. Really, I mean, the differentiation right now in Phoenix, we're trying to figure out what's going on with him. He's having some computer issues, so we're figuring that out. But the differentiating factor was you realizing pretty quickly that Eastern Palace and Tower of Hera were your 5-6. Go to that Pyramid Ferry, and you got boots, which not only locked desert, but just made you go faster the whole time.
Yeah, I was really surprised. A lot of the time, Pyramid Ferry is just nothing, because you get the Go Mode crystals there, and you're just like, oh, okay, whatever. It's that place I'm not going to check. But I've never seen 2 Light World that I had access to that early and could clear. So I was just like, oh, how am I going to route this? What do I do?
Yeah, it was very surprising when we saw that map check. We realized that that was pretty immediately available to you. It's not something you see very often. So besides just that finish with Ice Rod and Quake, how did you feel about this seed just kind of overall?
It felt really good. I found like everything you needed to get like the good routing you'd want through all the Dark World and stuff like that just kept falling into your place, so you didn't have to go out of your way too much. The only weird thing I thought was I think I took like 50 minutes to activate my flute, but I got it somewhat early and I just never needed to get it ready.
Yeah, we did notice that you grabbed that flute and just didn't really do anything with it right away, but you didn't need to because of your routing, so it kind of worked out for you in the end in that respect.
Yeah. The other thing that was fun was going through all the pendant dungeons going, all right, this Quake is left, it could be anywhere, I'm going to go through everything in order of what I should do, and then it turned out it was the Mire that I could have done like 30 minutes ago, and I had the choice to do, and I was just like, no, we're really close to go mode, I don't really want to go in here.
Well, I don't think it was necessarily a bad play. I am curious what you were going through there. You're like counting down the number of locations where it could be on the ped, but you never checked ped. Did you
No.
think about going up and checking it at any point in time?
I was tempted to check it, but I was like, well, I'm at the point where it's going to be these 2 pendant dungeons and then pedestal, but at the same time as I was going through Maya, I was sitting there going, oh god, what have I missed? What have I missed? Oh no, it's somewhere in here. I've skipped something because everything went too smoothly that I walked over a location. So I was terrified that it was going to be something that I just forgot and I'd have to like forfeit over.
Yeah, and then we find out that it's just couch cash from your game stream. So, I mean, that's good. I mean, you ended up making the most efficient decisions, I think. But GG, I mean, a very well-run race. It kind of drug you around in some different directions. I'm really anxious to see your completion rate at this point in time. I'm thinking you're in the high 180s at this point.
That does sound right. I think I skipped just the pedestal, I guess dungeon item chests that I didn't need to grab, and then the right side of Gan's Tower, along with upstairs. So I would say 180 is a good guess, because I did skip a lot of standing items as well.
So you move on to 2-0. Have you taken a look at the list of the other 2-0s up to this point in time, and kind of scoped out your competition at all?
Oh no, it's a large list. I think there's still over 100 names that are going to be 2-0. I think. If my math is correct.
Yeah, it should be 128 people will be 2-0.
That's a lot to keep track of. So I'm just going to let them line up with me and see how it goes.
Do you have a match that you want to have, at some point in this tournament? Do you have someone that you really just look forward to wanting to have a one-on-one race against?
I wouldn't mind playing some of my friends. At the same time, I don't want to like give us one of us a loss. So it's kind of like you want to play them, but at the same time, you want us to all go through. But I think I'd enjoy playing Andy. I know I'd probably lose, but it would be a lot of fun to look over the race, which is why I'd want to see that the most.
All right. Well, do you have? I mean, by the way, chat thanks you / curses you. You pulled out the bug net for Aghanim. And then you didn't use it until the very last thing. First of all, thank you for at least using it once on one hit. But it was a bit of a tease, man.
I was going up and I was just like, I got the bug net, I might as well use it. But at the same time, I'm not amazing with it. So I'm going to pull it out to trick them. And then the last one, after I got the triple, just lined up. And I was like, okay, this should be an easy hit. I can get this one. I'll go for that.
Yeah, it was nice to see that get used, at least there at the very end.
All right, so GG Fouton, do you have any other comments or thoughts about the tournament or your race in particular or anything else?
Not really. Had a lot of fun. It was a good race. The seed was, I mean, it was a bit like go out of your way stuff, but I think it was a lot of fun to play that one because it was just straightforward. Yeah, and thanks for commentating, guys, and for tracking and whatnot.
Hey, that's not a problem. So, GG once again to Fouton. Go ahead and give him a follow here on Twitch if you have not already. An amazing runner who's going to make a lot of noise in this tournament. Looking forward to the bracket stage. See you there, man.
Hopefully I get there.
All right, 181 clear rate. So I was a little off. It's okay.
180's good enough.
It's close. GG once again to Fouton. Again, follow him over here on Twitch. Also, a big shout out to Feasel, our restreamer, Yonkers, or Yoinker. I'm sorry. Yoinker's wife. Sorry, who's doing our tracking. She's been doing an amazing job for us here. Also, my wonderful co-commentator Nakanashi. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to commentate with you, Vitasia. I'd watched you commentate some other stuff before. I was like, yeah, I want to commentate with Vitasia. So it was a lot of fun.
Oh, you're too kind. Thank you so much, sir. Just a reminder to all of our runners, go ahead and continue to follow us on the Speed Gaming network of channels, Speed Gaming 1 through 6, also on ALTTP Randomizer 1 through 4. We have so much more randomizer action coming at you today. Let's see, it is about 6:15 Eastern time, so we have a lot of races that are still ongoing. What just started over on Speed Gaming 3, Scooter versus Hansen on Speed Gaming 3, Dracaris versus Window on Speed Gaming 5, getting ready to start here in the next hour on this channel. It's going to be Liminality Carb versus Zelnus. That's going to be a hype match. I'm going to take a night off and just sit back and watch for that one. But we also have Nifboy versus Salty Fry over on Speed Gaming 2 at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Still more randomizer going on tonight. At 8 o'clock on Speed Gaming 4, you have Voidborn Beast versus Dwayne. At 9 o'clock, we have Hitaka versus Geeky Fried Rice over on Speed Gaming 5. And then matches all throughout the evening. If you're a randomizer fan, I mean, just pick a channel and stick with it.
Yeah, pretty much there's a lot more races coming at you, even just today and then into tomorrow and the rest of the week. And really for the next... 3 months?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, if you think we're only in week 2, there's going to be 7 rounds of Swiss where we're going to have 256-ish races every week. And then the round of the bracket stage is where we go with our top 128 runners. And those 128 runners winnow themselves down every week. And that is 7 rounds. So that's another 7 weeks. Oh, we have Phoenix. He's in Ganon's tower. Looks like he finally found the boots.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, we get a little recap here. And yeah, he is on his way hunting for that big key.
It's a nice little update there. I mean, he's got everything that he absolutely needs at this point in time. And I was just kind of getting ready to sign off and throw it off because I didn't know what we were doing. But Phoenix might be back. We'll see.
Yeah, it's hard to say. We're getting updates here, so we might get to see Phoenix finish as well.
Looks like he's still having some lag issues with the upload things. All right, we're going to go ahead and let Phoenix finish this because even with his upload issues, we still don't know exactly where he's at. So we're going to go ahead and sign off, and we're going to start hosting over Speed Gaming 5. Again, tune in to the other Speed Gaming Network channels where you have so much randomizer going on tonight. Nakanashi, do you have anything else to add before we call it good for this one?
No, I think you covered everything. Go check out all these other races. It's a great time to be a randomizer fan.
Absolutely. So for those of us here at Speed Gaming, my name's Vatasia.
My name's Nakanashi.
And have a great rest of your night, anyone. Tune in for more rando action.